Greetings, my fellow hiker from the foothills of the French Alps. I'm delighted to be sharing with you a fantastic hike that I took recently. Not too long, but not too short, and I think it gave a lot of great views and just a whole round experience of what the foothills of the Alps have to offer. Hi, I'm Brison-Saint-Innocent, the founder and CEO of Vaucluse Gear, a backpacking sweat company that specializes in helping you stay cool and dry while you hike. And I'll be sharing with you some of the equipment that we used during this hike, of how we were able to stay much cooler and much drier, because there are obviously the nice and comfortable side of staying cool and dry, but also there is, you could say, in some situations there is safety as well. Whereas if it gets too hot, body temperature starts spiking and you might be in a serious situation, or you might be in a cold situation, and then if you start sweating and that sweat isn't able to evaporate, again, another safety issue. Nonetheless, let's walk through the hike that I took. I've got my notes. I'm going to be sharing video pictures and some videos. You can also go on our website, vauclusegear.com, to get additional information on this hike. But so I was in a town called Brison-Saint-Innocent, and that is pretty much just south of Geneva and east of Lyon. So right on the border of France and Switzerland. You're on the foothill of the Alps, so if you drive another 30 minutes, you start really seeing the big mountains of the Alps. Here, it's more or less the foothills. It's a beautiful area because you could call it the Lake District. There's two beautiful lakes in this area. The one that you can see from my photos is called, I believe it's called the Lac de Bourget. So we were at the Lac de Bourget, which we could see clearly. And so this hike, I used AllTrails to track where I'm going, and I used Strava to just figure out, our overall speed, elevation. You can do a lot of this stuff on AllTrails. I'm learning more AllTrails. I started with Strava, so if you have suggestions on which one's better or which app I should be using, entirely a different app that I should be using, let me know. But I used AllTrails for the hike, and I used Strava to track. And so we hiked 2 hours and 26 minutes. I think we did about 15-minute breaks, so it wasn't too strenuous. We were, it was in the morning. We started at 8 because it was going to get hot. Let's see, the overall temperature, just to jump into that, was, it was in the low 70s. And then I think it picked up around the mid 80s. Don't have it right in front of me, but I will post it up. But so, and then the temperature was just going to increase. So we wanted to start a hike early, get it done, get it out of the way. And it was really a great experience. Humidity was just under 50%. I tend to sweat in that type of environment, but nonetheless, it was a beautiful hike. I highly recommend it because you had great views of the lake. You had variety in the hike, and you didn't, in a 2-hour plus hike, you had a lot of variety. You had, you could walk through just a field. You could see some wonderful animals. You could see a city. You could be completely hidden in the woods with these massive pines. You could be just completely lost in a forest with just, signposts saying, pick your choice. I was shocked at how many different options we had for trails. So I had my trail planned out with AllTrails. I would probably go back because I was just shocked at how many different paths you could take, and a lot of them just meet up. So you can, if you want to take a longer trail and meet up somewhere, you can. You can take a shorter one. You can, a lot of variety. If some people want to take a shorter trail, they can take the shorter trail. You take the longer one, and then more than likely you can meet up because there's a lot of different intersections in this area, just right above Brison-Saint-Innocent in this region. So I highly recommend it. As I said, it did get quite warm, but I did have, so I usually hike with an Osprey 22 Talon. That's my usual that I go with, but I do include, attach our Vaucluse Gear Cool Dry frame, and it's this white thing right here. And what this frame does is it just provides additional airflow to the backpack. Now this backpack comes with a very nice frame. It has air escape, but it's very thin. It doesn't, like, there's not a lot of air escaping. And usually what happens is, if you're like me and you sweat, that sweat is not going to evaporate. It's just going to stay and linger in the backpack. So eventually this backpack is going to stink if I don't do something about it. And just, the sweat doesn't evaporate, body temperature doesn't get an opportunity to really cool down unless I do a complete pause, take my backpack off. I don't really like stopping with my hiking. So what this frame does is it provides a really comfortable space, and you can see testimonials. The video is going to end with testimonials about what people do. And so this is unconventional to have the backpack separate from the back, but it does a really good job because the frame is completely flexible. So it's not like a hard frame that is going to be rigid on your back, or it's going to make the backpack move around. It does an excellent job. Obviously, I think it does an excellent job, but we do have reviews from people saying this is a really good gear to use on a backpack. So I highly recommend it because I was able to, and I'll show pictures now of my back. Now, it was getting hot, and it was, for me, humidity is always my bane. So I was sweating, but what I did like, and this is from me not having to pause, is that I could feel the cool air passing through. There was a slight wind, but nonetheless, the hot air could just lift up off my back, and it kept me cool. So I did sweat. It's almost impossible not to sweat, but what's really good about this is that it was able to allow at least a constant flow of evaporation, so that sweat just didn't linger. So that's pretty much all I have from here in the French Alps. If you have a comment about this area, let me know. Questions about the bag, the frame, let me know. Happy to have had your attention so I could share with you this fantastic hike. See you on the trails.